What's going on, Canes fans? Welcome to another Final Thoughts video. Miami versus Virginia. This is literally an opportunity for me to change my mind on some things. Maybe backpedal on my score prediction because something has changed. Depth chart, weather, anything like that. And I really haven't changed my mind at all on this game. Not even a little bit. Not even after, taking into account that Virginia beat North Carolina last week. That doesn't change my mind at all. Now, we are going to talk about some things in this video that does worry me a little bit about Virginia. I don't think this is necessarily a walk in the park. It's not a guaranteed win. As Canes fans, we all know nothing is a guaranteed win for Miami, right? But I still stand behind my score prediction. I had to write it in green this week because we ran out of black ink. 34-17 Miami. I do think the spread is pretty close to being accurate this week. They've got Miami as about an 18.5 point favorite, I believe. But before we dive any deeper, your boy Coop just had his first ever chicken tender sub from Publix. And there's a little bit of extra pressure. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to unbutton my pants here right quick. So hold please. Give me just a second. Okay, much better. I don't like to do very many cuts in these videos, but now your boy Coop can breathe. So let's dive into this one. It's funny because the records are literally flipped. Virginia's 2-5, Miami 5-2. Virginia hadn't even won a single football game 2 weeks ago. They found a way to get a win over William and Mary. Hey, nobody cares, right? But then they defeat North Carolina 31-27. At the time, the number 10th ranked team in the country. A team that beat us not too long ago by 10 points. Really could have been more if you take away the garbage time points. And so many people were scratching their heads. The biggest takeaway so far from the 2023 college football season, though, in my opinion, is it's been fairly inconsistent. There have been very few teams that week in and week out have looked the same. There have been some big-time surprise upsets, and that happens every year, right? But it really seems like we're seeing it a lot this season. Now, I do want to add here that Miami does have to be careful in this game. Miami is by far the better team. But can we go ahead and be honest here? I mean, you can look at the tape. You can look at the stats on paper. Miami is the superior team in almost every category. But what's very interesting with this Virginia team, and we talked about it in my preview video, is in their 3 ACC games, they only won one of them against North Carolina. But in the other two, so against Boston College and NC State, they only lost both of those games by 3. This Virginia team was a team that was getting very close, but they couldn't figure out how to close out games. They couldn't figure out how to finish. They didn't know how to win. And now that they've won 2 games in a row, nobody again really cares about the William and Mary game, but they found a way to beat that North Carolina team. Has this Virginia team figured out how to win now? So it's not like they were getting blown out by other ACC teams. I understand that Tennessee kind of blew them out week 1, and they've had some other games that weren't necessarily close. But in the conference games, they kept all those games close. And that's something that for Miami fans, obviously we don't want to see going into this one. It's tough because at the quarterback position, we know that Tyler Van Dyke is not 100% healthy. Look, listen. Fans have to understand coach speak. I don't know how many times we talk about this. When they come out and they say, hey, this guy is 100% good to go. Again, what else do you expect them to say? They're going to come out and they're going to say our guys are ready to play. And Mario Cristobal especially doesn't really dive deep when it comes to injuries. So Tyler Van Dyke now has the brace on his finger, and he now has a big brace on his leg. Again, he's not going to be 100% if he does start this game. He might be ready to play. He might play banged up. He might be hurt. He's not 100%, without a doubt. And, that brings up the question, is it going to be Emory Williams again in this one. Mario said early on in the week, Tyler is ready to go. We expect him to play, but that could change. We don't know. It could have changed today on Friday. It could have changed, or it could change on Saturday during warming up, right, for the game. And TVD and Emory have both taken first-team reps this week just in case. So that's something that really makes you think, like a lot of people felt like Tyler Van Dyke still gives Miami the best chance to win games, even though he's, not really won the fans over overall this season. But Emory's stats against Clemson really weren't very promising. They're to be expected for a freshman, so let's not downplay it. But if they were to come out and Emory puts up those same numbers against Virginia, there's a chance Miami possibly might not win it, because those numbers were a little ugly if you take away the overtime, right? So it's tough, man. I know a lot of people are saying, well, Coop, what about Jakari? I still think that Jakari ends up possibly transferring next season. I don't know. It's all going to depend on TVD and his situation. And I do believe Emory is QB number 2. There's talks about, not wanting to burn a red shirt and all this. I think the most important thing for Miami right now when you're looking at the future is winning. I know it's probably an unpopular opinion. I know you want to preserve guys, but you got to think about the future, man. You got to think about the impact on recruiting and what losing can do. So, unless you're 100% confident in Jakari, and if TVD can't go, it might be a situation where Emory does have to come out in this game. And I don't know if that raises my confidence level or lowers it. Either way, I think Miami can get the win, and I'll tell you why. No matter who's back there behind center, the trenches, man. The trenches. I think that Miami continues this little run. They bullied Clemson. If Miami can bully Clemson in the trenches, then they better be able to bully the Cavaliers in the trenches. And I don't think it'll be a problem. I do think that that's something Miami does on Saturday afternoon. A couple of things I would be worried about would be their wide receiver, Malik Washington. That guy's putting up huge numbers. 5th most productive wide receiver in the country. 56 catches, 783 yards, 6 touchdowns. Miami has to be able to slow that guy down a little bit. He loves to put on a show. And honestly, they found their quarterback with Musket. And this is a guy that, isn't the most electric college football player, but he is a transfer. He brings experience and the ability to extend plays. And again, with Miami, that's been a little bit of a questionable area. It is pretty awesome, though, to see that Virginia's giving up a lot of rushing yards. And that puts a big smile on my face because we all know what happened last week against Clemson. Miami should be able to just run the ball on Virginia if it comes down to that. On the other side of this, they have Hollins and Jones. Hollins is really good in the red zone, but I'm still really not too worried about it. I mean, Miami's giving up an average of less than 100 or maybe even less than 90 rushing yards per game. So I'm not really worried about this Virginia rushing attack. I'm not really worried about this game. Like, is that weird for me to say that? A lot of people are saying trap game. I don't feel like it's a trap game. I don't think we're going to overlook Virginia. I would honestly be a little more worried if it was Florida State next week. So, a situation where we're playing Virginia at home. We're coming off a big win against Clemson, and then we're thinking about that Florida State game next week. But that's not the case. We're not playing Florida State next week. We're playing NC State. So I don't think that we overlook these guys. I just don't know. I'm thinking that maybe Virginia they expended a little bit too much in that North Carolina game, both physically and mentally. And instead of necessarily riding the high off of that, I think that they come crashing back down to reality a little bit in this Miami game. It is at Hard Rock. I would be a little worried about the fan turnout. However, it's a 3:30 game. It wasn't packed for Clemson. It's Virginia. It's at the end of the day, it's still a 2-5 ACC team. So I don't think it's going to be electric. I don't think Hard Rock is going to be rocking. I just don't think it's going to be. And it's not me trying to be negative, but what I'm saying is the crowd isn't necessarily going to play a part in this game. It's not going to be a factor. But either way, I think Miami is fine. I do think they need to be very careful, and it's going to be kind of the theme of this final thoughts video, with the quarterback situation. I don't want to see something to where we have a Tyler Van Dyke out there that really can't sling the ball when he's out there on the field, right? If we start seeing a bunch of underthrown passes or a bunch of floaters, if he's taking a bunch of sacks and he's getting hit, you got to take him out, right? But then I hate that scenario where you committed to playing that guy, and then let's say with 2 minutes left in the first quarter, you yank him out, and then you're having to throw Emery in. It seems like it throws off the whole vibe for everything, even though both those guys have been taking first-team reps this week. It's like I want to go with a guy, put him in there, and stick with him unless everything just comes crumbling down and he looks really bad. Again, you just got to trust the coaching staff with TVD, right? That they're going to make the best decision on game day. But I just the quarterback thing worries me because I know they want to play Tyler. I know Tyler wants to play. I'm a little bit worried about what might happen with that in the game on Saturday afternoon. But overall, man, again, I'm confident in this. I'm sticking by my 34-17. But let me know your final thoughts down in the comment section below. This is your last chance, guys, to come on here and leave a comment and say, I tried to tell you guys. I tried to tell you, Coop. But yeah, I really think that Miami is going to handle business on Saturday. They're going to improve to 6-2. And that's it. Your boy Coop is going to sleep good tonight, and I'm just really not that worried. So